Now, 9 of Insulate Britain's eco-terrorists will spend Christmas behind bars after they were jailed yesterday for their part in the dangerous disruption of computers, parents and emergency services. One of the group's ringleaders, Tracey Mallaghan, has been taking part in disruptive eco-protests for more than 2 years, including this roadblock at Westminster recently. She was also the spokesperson for her jailed comrades at the High Court yesterday.
In the past, when governments have failed to protect their people, the right thing to do is to highlight the injustice, breaking the law if needed. This is what the suffragettes and Martin Luther King did, and it is what Insulate in Britain has done.
And Tracey Mallaghan joins me in the studio tonight. Now, Tracey, I'm going to start by saying we're going to have a conversation, right? Because I watched you on Good Morning Britain where Richard Madeley got very angry because you weren't listening to his questions and answering the questions. So are you happy that I'll ask the questions and you'll provide the answers? Is that cool?
Yeah, can I just start by...
Oh, no, this isn't going well. This isn't going well.
I'd like to acknowledge your bravery, actually, Dan.
Okay.
Can I just do that? I'd like to acknowledge your bravery in showing how terrified you were as a child about the hole in the ozone layer.
Yes.
Because none of us want people needlessly terrified or panicking.
Well, see, that's one of the big issues I have with you, and seeing you've raised that, let's kick off with that. Because I am an environmentalist, and a lot of people don't believe that because I'm completely opposed to the Extinction Rebellion, and I'm completely opposed to your movement, Insulate Britain. But I am an environmentalist. And one of the reasons that I came to this position is because when I was growing up, I was doing the protests and I was doing all of the stuff that was required, but I was terrified. Yeah. Because I was told by folk like you that I was doomed because this hole in the ozone was growing bigger by the day and we had no chance of reversing it. Yeah. And so I was one of those young people that you're terrifying now. I believe that actually the changes that we've made are working and the technology that is going to come along is working. So I really disagree with the way that you're trying to scare our young folk, because I was one of those people.
I get to talk now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it takes bravery to admit that we're scared and feel vulnerable. So, you know, I really would like to acknowledge your bravery in sharing that. Have you heard of the Montreal Protocol, though, Dan? Yeah. So should we tell your viewers what that was about?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that was about 200 countries coming together to stop chemical industries from putting CFCs out into our atmosphere. Yeah. So you were right to be scared. The reason there isn't a massive hole in our ozone layer is because we took action.
Of course. Yeah. I completely agree. And I know that...
But what do you think about the fact that HFCs are still going up?
Well, what I think is that we are taking the same sort of action that we did with the Montreal Protocol, especially the UK. I mean, you know, we are barely using any coal at all.
Do you know, with our targets in place, do you know what degree of warming we're going to get to? If we do everything that they've promised, which they don't always do, we know that, Dan. Do you know where we're at?
Well, after COP26.
It's 2.4. After COP26, 2.4. And you know what the climate scientists are saying we have to stay under, right? 98% of climate scientists are saying we have to stay under 1.5 to stop countries like the Marshall Islands and that going under. So, with the greatest respect, you know, you were right to be terrified as a child.
Well, no, I wasn't right. Hang on, let me finish. No, I wasn't right, because we were told by the year 2000 all of these countries were going to be underwater. And guess what? We're here now.
Why hasn't that hole opened?
But that's the ozone hole.
Because we took action.
Of course, that's the ozone hole.
And we are not taking action now, Dan.
No, we are. No, we are.
2.4 degrees of warming isn't action.
No, but your protests, Tracey, and this is the issue. Your protest,
civil resistance,
your campaign of eco-terrorism, actually, is how I describe it.
Well, I know you're a bit of a drama queen, aren't you, babe?
Well, maybe. Was focused on British folk. If you look at our story in the UK, between 1990 and 2016, the UK has cut greenhouse gas emissions by 41%. That is more than any country in the G7. So why the hell are you stopping ordinary British folk from getting to work, getting to hospital, taking their kids to school?
So it makes no sense. This is why I got cross with Madly, because you're asking me a few questions in one. So let's start with why. So what is the legally binding agreement that our government signed at COP? The deal was to keep us under 2 degrees of warming, right? That is a legally binding agreement. And you've just agreed with me that after COP, even if we keep all of the targets we've got in place, we're going to hit 2.4
but I'm not
degrees.
worried
So
about
our
that.
government, well, shame on you, because that's a terrible thing. 98% of scientists are saying a 95% chance for 2-degree world, so you can't. Maybe that scared child in you needs to grow up a little bit, darling, and face the reality of what a 2-degree world looks like, because I don't want anybody terrified needlessly. I don't want anybody panicking, but I want the kind of action that Maggie Thatcher and others took with the Montreal Protocol to get what needs doing under control for all of our benefits.
But why are you protesting on UK streets when we
I will
are
tell
doing
you.
more than anyone in the world? What is
Stop
your
it with
point?
that, we're doing
Why
more than
don't you
anyone in the
go
world. That's a
to
nonsense.
China? Why don't you go to India? Why don't you go to the USA? Why don't you take your campaign of terror to Australia? Not the UK. We're doing more than any of these
Stop
major
it,
Western
Dan.
democracies.
Stop it, right? You're being a drama queen. You told me we were going to have a decent conversation. If you don't want me to treat you like Richard Madley, then let's have that normal conversation, right?
But you make me so mad.
Because you don't want to hear the truth, right? The truth is ugly, and I get it. I'm used to people being very cross
No, but the
with
truth is
messenger.
we've done more than any other major
Stop it.
country.
That is not true.
It
We
is.
are going to break a legally binding agreement to keep us under 2.4 degrees of warming. Now, if we go over 1.5, we're selling out the Marshall Islands, and loads of countries are going to go underwater. So either you are heartless and you don't care what we're doing to other people, or you don't understand the science, or you're too scared to look at it.
You
So what one
don't
of them things are
understand
you?
the science. Do you get that the
You just
UK
said you don't
is
care.
now responsible
You just said you
for
don't care
less
about
than
2.4
1% of global emissions?
Do you understand every country, apart from China, which we use, right? We use them to do our dirty work. Do you understand every country is responsible
Oh,
for
so you're
1%?
just saying that China.
But what
so you're
you're
just saying that China is
what you're
excusable. It's our
saying-
fault.
What you're saying is no country should take any kind of responsibility, and I'm not on board for that. We all take our 1% responsibility, and we'll get there. You're selling out the British public by saying blame all on China. That's head in the
No,
sand.
we've
Blame
done
other
it.
people. Oh,
We've done it. Don't
just
you
lost your
understand?
pen, babe.
We've done it.
No, we haven't done it.
41% we have cut our global
2.4
emissions.
degrees of warming is a death sentence to the Marshall Islands. Do you not care? Are you heartless or are you stupid, Dan?
Oh, my goodness.
Don't like it.
Sadly, I think you're a little bit stupid because you're not understanding
No,
what I'm saying.
but you're not
which
coming
is that
back.
the UK has done our bit
And I've
already.
just told you
and we're
quite
getting to net
clearly-
zero by 2050.
Net zero is a load of nonsense. And you say that I don't answer your questions, but I say to you, how do you feel about our government breaking a legally binding agreement to keep us under 2 degrees? And you say, meh, I don't care.
Because we're doing as much as
No,
we
we're not.
possibly can.
In our government's manifesto is that they're going to insulate houses. The number one thing to do in any credible report is insulate houses, and we're not doing it. So what makes you think they're doing anything, Dan? I think that scared little boy in you that was terrified of the ozone layer, and I want to give a big hug to, hasn't read the science, hasn't engaged with the fact that the only reason there's not a massive hole in our ozone layer is because we took action, and you don't want it.
Tracy, you're
You
not
said you
listening
don't
to the
care.
facts. You just said the
You're
UK
not
government
listening
is
to the
doing nothing. Are you serious? This is a government completely beholden and obsessed about the green agenda.
Oh, get
this
over
is a
yourself
government
with your lies
that
and
is
drama queen,
phasing
Dan.
out diesel vehicles
lost
and
your pen.
petrol vehicles. Phasing out the use of gas boilers in our homes. What are you talking
Do you know what
about?
they said? Right, so again, you don't know. So you're right, they've said that they're going to give us heat pumps, right?
Yeah.
That's the equivalent, without insulation, that's the equivalent of sending our granddads out to war with bullets and no guns. If you don't understand that, it's you who doesn't understand the science and what's going on, not me,
Well,
darling.
let me put
and
it to
you said
you.
you don't care about 2.4 degree world, which
Tracy.
tells anybody who understands what
Tracy.
going over 2 degrees means. Let me
Tracy.
just finish, Dan.
No,
Dan,
you've had your
Dan.
time. I asked the questions, Tracy. Let me
Dan.
put it to you that the damage you have done as an organisation
gonna go
over the past couple of months has actually put back the environmental movement in this country by over a decade.
How?
Because what you managed to do in footage like this is infuriate honest,
do we?
hard-working British folk who believe in cutting in stopping climate change and who want to have a green planet. You just put us all
What, environmentalists
offside.
like you who say, I don't care what it means going over 2 degrees. That just means you don't understand. That was your words, Dan.
Yes, but you've missed my point because you are
I've
protesting.
missed your point.
Yeah, because you are protesting the UK government. And actually, Tracey, and you're not going to like this, I think we're doing too much. We are taking on too much of the burden.
That scared little boy in you needs to grow up. You don't deserve that
and we
chair.
need to focus on India, and we need to focus on Australia, and we need to focus on the US.
You need to focus
because
on yourself
the
and a bit of reading.
UK has done so much more than these other global democracies.
Is that how you sleep at night? You tell yourself these lies. You owe everybody listening to this. It is a lie because you've just said you don't understand, right? You don't care what a 2-degree world means. You're selling out my children, so I'm furious with you. Oh. You need to do some reading.
And you say I'm the drama queen.
You are a drama queen. You lost your pen, not me, mate.
You're acting hysterically.
Oh, look, that's terrible, isn't it? Because I'm a woman and I show emotion, a bit of anger. I'm hysterical. Come on, you can do better than that,
I mean, I think Liam Norton, who's been in this chair, has also acted hysterically
too. I try and set that up for you?
God, no!
I don't think you're his type.
I can't think of anything worse, if I'm completely honest.
Well, it'd be a date with you, maybe.
But look, I just feel like you have set back this movement.
How can I set it back when people like you are saying you're an environmentalist, but you don't care about 2 degrees warming? We're not moving anything back, are we? People do not understand the reality of the situation, and that's.
Tracy,
want an honest conversation, but I haven't finished many sentences, have I, Dan?
Tracy, if every country in the world were to do what the UK is doing, we would
every country in the world needs to get on board.
1.5 degree.
You don't understand. I've just told you, if we do
everything...
but
we would, wouldn't we?
No, let me finish a sentence.
We would.
Let me finish one sentence. No. If we do everything that we said we would do from COP, we are still going to hit 2.4 degrees, Dan. Do you know what that means for my children? Do you know what that means for the Marshall Islands?
Well, I'm not buying into the hysteria because I've read the reports. No, because I've read the reports from the scientists also that were published in 1974 and 1980 and 1990 and the year 2000 predicting the imminent demise of the Earth. I actually have more faith in humanity, more faith in science to be able to change, and I believe we're doing that incrementally.
So you're putting your hopes in tech that doesn't work yet, that we don't have yet, and it might well catch up, right? But we need to pause until we do, because unless people like you, with scared little boys inside them who somehow manage to get in these chairs and sit there going, I'm an environmentalist, but I don't care what a 2-degree world looks like. Unless you grow up and actually engage with modern science, where we're at now, you accept that the oil companies have sold us out, just like the tobacco companies did. We've been lied to, Dan, and I hate telling this ugly truth to people.
But you're an extremist.
I don't like any of this. No, you're an extremist because you stopped reading the science back in the 2000s and we're 20 years ahead of that. And a 2-degree world means 1 billion people on the move. Right? That's what it means. It means drought. It means famine. It means 1 billion people on the move, and that means war because people like you call them migrants, right? Won't let them in, don't want to share anything. That's a disgrace. That's a disgraceful way.
So you're turning this into a political issue now?
Everything is a political issue, Dan. I never used to like politics at all. I only heard about this in October 2019, right, because of a few protesters. Boris Johnson called them uncultured
Well, I've been focusing on this my whole life, so
but I think I know a lot more than you. But you gave up in the 2000s. No, that scared little boy in you gave up in the 2000s.
Can I just ask if you're prepared to continue this campaign, Insulate Britain? You're one of the spokespeople. You've now seen 9 of your comrades go to prison. I think it's brilliant that they will be spending Christmas behind bars because what it shows is that you can't cause the sort of carnage and chaos on our roads like you did before.
Or if you do, people like you with these nasty words and winding up the public,
you will end up in jail.
We all thought we would be in prison after 2 or 3 weeks because the truth is laws exist already that they could have stopped us with, but instead our government didn't want us in prison over COP, so they've gone in the back door, they've worked out this injunction. You can't put an injunction on physics.
Are you brave, and I say quote unquote brave enough to keep gluing yourself to the roads?
I'm terrified, Dan. I'm terrified.
But are you going to keep doing that?
Yeah.
Are you going to keep doing that?
Of course I am, because
so you're going to go to jail?
My children.
If you love your children, why on earth would you go to jail?
If it's decided that you have to lock up the people telling the message because people like you are too scared to look at the actual reality of our situation
I look at the facts.
Share it. No, you've already said you stopped in 2000. You don't care what 2-degree world is, so don't then sit here and say you know the facts. You've admitted tonight that you haven't looked at it for a while. You don't care what a 2-degree world is, so you don't know what the facts are, sweetheart, do you?
No, Tracey, you've completely misunderstood me yet again, because
Yeah,
the
we've
point
never met
that
before.
I
How
was...
can it be yes again?
Because you've misunderstood me numerous times during this interview. I think you're purposefully misrepresenting me. The point, the point that I was making is that I've also read all of the doomsday historic reports from the UN that warned of the planet's imminent demise. And surprise, surprise, here we are in 2021, and the Earth is still a beautiful place, and we're still
Go and tell
walking.
that to the people who have suffered from the floods and the famine and the drought. You tell that to all the people in Syria who have had to move because of famine and drought.
OK, final question.
Beautiful world for you, isn't it? And that's the problem here. People like you only care about yourself. You think you're going to be safe.
You can talk. You're a group of absolute hypocrites. Most Insulate Britain folk haven't even bothered to insulate their own homes. You travel all around the world. You drive diesel cars. So actually, you don't practice what you preach, do you?
Dan,
answer the question.
You really need to grow up. What question? I don't drive and I haven't travelled because I'm a really poor person, right? I worked as a nurse and we get paid crap money, part-time one, single mum, and now I'm disabled and on benefits. So no, I don't travel and I don't drive a car, and I'm not a hypocrite, right?
But you're prepared to go to jail.
What I am is a desperate mum.
And you're prepared to go to jail.
Everything to protect her children. Okay. To protect the most vulnerable people in society, and to try and get people like you to let go of that scared little boy who's more interested in clicks and being a bit famous and having a nice life than actually caring about the reality of our situation.
Know what?
It's quite sickening, Dan.
Do you know what? That means that you're not prepared to have a debate, and I am prepared to have the debate with you. But for you to demean me in that way and say that because I don't agree with you,
you don't agree with
I'm
science.
only
You said,
looking for clicks or looking for fame,
world looks like.
that means you're not really prepared to have a debate. But look, I've really enjoyed it. So thank you so much, Tracey Mallaghan. It was brilliant to have you here. Coming up, the two reality sensations, AJ and Curtis Pritchard, join me to discuss the launch of I'm a Celebrity and how Strictly will cope without Craig Revel-Horwood. The next, MP's totally out of touch with the public. GB News star Mark Dolan joins me to discuss a wayward Westminster.
It's time to remind ourselves there's always another winter.